UFC 304 has 14 fights, which means we have a whole bunch of lines that we can look at while building our PrizePicks entry. If you don't know what PrizePicks is, it's daily fantasy. You come in here, you say more or less than the numbers you see on the screen. If you are correct, you can 10 times your money, you can 20 times your money. They will even give you free money to play. The only thing you need to do is go to wewantpicks.com/prizepicks, use promo code WWP, and they will instantly match your deposit. If you give them $10, they'll give you $10. If you give them $100, they'll give you $100 instantly that you can use. Sign up, promo code WWP, build yourself an entry. And if you win, you have a ton more free money. If you lose, you lost their free money. It is what it is. Let's go ahead and break down the UFC 304 PrizePicks entry. Typically, I don't like to do the significant strike lines. That is a subjective number. I remind you guys every week, but there is literally a human being with a clicker in their hand. They go, that was significant. That one wasn't. That one was. And one of the lines that I'm talking about here is Shauna Bannon 60.5. I said 60.5. That seems high. I went to her last fight and she only landed 40. I was like, this wasn't even close. And then I see that she landed like 120 something actual strikes. Only half of them were ruled significant. So then it goes back to the subjectivity. That human being that was sitting cage side that fight said those weren't significant. A different human being might look at those exact same strikes and say it was. So for that reason, that long roundabout answer, some of these lines I am going to avoid because it's hard. Where I do love the lines are a couple of the super high ones that make no sense to me. And the first one right off the rip is Leon Edwards. You realize he's gotten past this number one single time in the UFC? Only one time. He does not get past 84.5 very often. This is a very high strike line. And if you look at the matchup, it makes even less sense because he is either going to destroy Bilal Muhammad or get taken down, held down, and just not be able to get that volume going. In his last fight with Colby Covington, he defended a bunch of takedowns. He did not spend a lot of time on the ground and still didn't get past that number. 84.5 is a wildly high number for Leon Edwards. I'm going the less here. Frankly, what you probably should do is just grab this, one of your other most confident favorite lines, and just stick with that. Because I don't want to get too exposed, start chasing, and have some issues, but I do love the less on Leon Edwards. Another less that I like here that I didn't have in my original entry, but we will go ahead and throw it into this entry, is our boy Muhammad Mokaev. 33.5 seems like a low number. And then you go through his fight history. He's only gotten past this number one time. And that was in his last fight against Alex Perez, where Alex was defending the takedowns. Alex was actively defending the takedowns. Alex Perez is not dangerous, though. Not like Manel Kape. So I don't think Muhammad's going to get past this number because we have a couple of situations here. Muhammad Mokaev is either going to be very effective in the wrestling and get nowhere near this number as he has been in fights where he's been effective with the wrestling, or he's not going to be effective with the wrestling and Manel Kape will put him out. So either way, I don't think we get to this number here. So the less than 33.5 of Muhammad Mokaev makes a little bit of sense to me as well. If we go to fight time minutes, there's a couple here that I was interested in, but there's only one I pulled the trigger on, and it's going to be Christian Leroy Duncan over 8.5 fight minutes. I know this guy has a ton of finishes. I know Gregory Rodriguez has a ton of finishes, but I think what's going to happen here is Christian Leroy Duncan's going to take his time. He doesn't come out fast. He takes his time. He won his last fight by stoppage with ground and pound. So I think CLD is going to take his time here. I think he's going to try to avoid the big power coming his way from Gregory Rodriguez. And I think Gregory might actually look to wrestle a little more than he normally does, understanding he's fighting a good striker. Both of these guys have pinned to decisions. They are both very durable. So I don't see this fight being a one-round, just absolute chaos finish. So I like the over 8.5 fight minutes. We almost got the over in his last fight. He missed it by like a minute if you were using 8.5 as the line. Nathaniel Wood, Daniel Pineda, my gut was like, oh, go more. But then it's like, yeah, Daniel Pineda's been into one decision in his entire career, in his 40-something fight career. So we left that alone. Meatball Molly, that's another one. The over makes sense, but she does have some finishes in there. And she could get finished. Bruna Brazil hits like a freight train. Molly looks in better shape than she's ever been, but what's that going to do to her chin? Cutting more weight than usual. We're going to leave that alone. Sam Patterson, this dude has no chin. His opponent has no chin. I don't know how long that fight's going to go. I don't like any of the fantasy score lines. Typically, what I love to do with the fantasy score is a big favorite that I don't think is going to win. I don't think Shauna Bannon wins, but that's such a close fight. I can't possibly go that direction. I do think Preston Parson wins, so we can do the more if he's going to get that early submission like we think. But I'm going to leave that out. The rest of these, we're just going to leave alone. Arnold Allen probably wins a decision. That's a low number. If we go to takedowns, the last entry that I do like here is the less than 1.5 takedowns for Daniel Pineda. Daniel Pineda does get some takedowns going. You go through his fight history, he can get that going. If you look at Nathaniel Wood, he's been taken down, but I do think this matchup is different. I think Nathaniel Wood's going to hit too hard. He's going to be too fast on the feet. Too good of a striker that Daniel's not going to be able to get going. He's not going to be able to close the distance. He's not going to get 2 takedowns in this fight. So I'm liking Nathaniel Wood here, and I'm thinking that he's going to be able to defend the second takedown. He'll probably get taken down once, but then he'll be good. There's a couple of other lines on here that are interesting. The Patty more than a half was one I was interested in. I was looking at it, and then I went through Bobby Green's fight history. The last person that took him down was Islam. That was the last person that took down Paddy Pimblett. I was going to say Israel Adesanya. That ain't it. Islam Makhachev is the last person that took him down. He's got very good takedown defense. They also had Bobby Green on here at a half a takedown. They removed that line. Maybe that's going to come back up adjusted. And they had Curtis Blades on here at a half a takedown. That is gone. I imagine people hammered them more there, so they're going to adjust that. But the reality is Curtis Blades hasn't shot a takedown in a long time. If that line pops back up, if Curtis Blades pops back up at 1.5 takedowns, I'm going to do the less. So we'll see what happens there. Curtis Blades has not shot a takedown in 3 years. He was pretty open in the press conference, not about Tom Aspinall, but they asked him, what would you do if you fought Alex Pereira? And he was like, I would shoot a takedown instantly. So obviously he has the awareness I need to be shooting takedowns, and he might do that in this fight. So we'll see what happens if that line pops back up, and this video will be long gone and filmed by then. But you're following my logic. If we get an unreasonably high number for him, the less makes some sense. This is my entry. We got Leon Edwards, less than 84.5 significant strikes. Muhammad Makayev, less than 33.5 significant strikes. Christian Leroy Duncan, less than more than 8.5 fight minutes. And Daniel Pineda, less than 1.5 takedowns. If we do the power play, I will 10 times my money, but this is MMA. I like to get the little bit of insurance there. So I'll 5 times my money with the insurance. If we get one wrong, we will still get paid. I already built my entry, so we'll leave this here. But if you want to build your, we'll submit it. Let's have 2. Let's double down. If you want to get your own entry going, take the free money, build your own entry. I focus on MMA. You can do any sport you want. WeWantPicks.com/PrizePicks, promo code WWP. They will instantly match your deposit. Deposit $20. Just throw $20 in there. Take their free 20. Use the free 20 to dip your toes, build your own entry, and if you win, even better. Even better. You 10 times your money with your free 20, you got $200. That all started with a free 20. WeWantPicks.com/PrizePicks, promo code WWP.